This episode is presented by DoorDash. Use promo code TheTryPod when you download the DoorDash app for 50% off. That's up to a $20 value and $0 delivery fees for a limited time.
Ramble.
Thank you to Buffy and DoorDash for sponsoring today's episode.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey girl, hey.
Welcome
Hey girl, hey.
to the TryPod with Eugene.
Yay, Rainie.
TryPod.
TryPod.
Yeah, we're all going to pee on the floor and hang out with Eugene.
P-O-D-D-Y.
Yeah.
No, you meant P-O-T-T-Y.
Well, I say it was a double entendre.
Oh, Rainie. Stunning. Wordplay, Spagliato.
Wow. The Spagliato. That's a House of the Dragons thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm a Darcy.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's not in the show. It's an
Wait, you
interview.
don't watch, you've never even watched Game of Thrones?
Correct.
Oh.
I thought it was actually from the show.
No, it's just a viral moment.
It's from an HBO
just
Max
like an
interview between Olivia
There's
Colman.
an interview?
No, Olivia, what's her name? Olivia Cook.
Yes.
Yes.
When you say the wrong name, like my brain refuses. I can't get back on the right track.
Just naming amazing British actresses, but her and Emma Darcy in an interview talking about their favorite drinks.
TikTok has really made things that never would have been heard by anybody, things that are heard by everyone. Like no one would have seen this interview where someone talked about something wherever it was posted, wherever it exists. But because some person did and then put it on the internet, it's like so much bigger. It's now like you were ordering that at places. You
How
actually
was
ordered
it?
that drink.
Well, I love it, but I love Campari.
Yeah.
So you have to like a Negroni before.
Right.
So it was
They thought you were a lunatic when you ordered it.
because I said it like Emma Darcy.
And they did not know the reference. They were
One
older.
person did.
Yes.
One person came from the depths. It was like, with Prosecco on it. Get the reference?
Well, you taught me that it's Spagliato means just wrong.
Just kind of like messed up, screwed up.
Oh.
So it's typically, a Negroni has gin in it with the Campari, but then instead of the gin, they switch it out with Prosecco. So it's a lighter Negroni.
But Negroni Spagliato just means, if I'm getting this right, you fucked up the Negroni.
Yeah, it's like twisted. It's all screwed
error.
up. Yeah.
Error edition.
That's why I'm Zach Spagliato.
Ooh.
Spagliato. Spagliato just sounds like a good pasta dish. To me.
Sounds delicious.
A little spagliato.
I guess a lot of
fettuccine.
Italian probably sounds like a pasta dish to
Yeah,
Americans.
I love pasta. We love pasta. We just want it to be a pasta dish.
Pasta is better than pizza.
Whoa.
In my opinion.
It's just such a broader thing.
I just feel like if you offered me the best pizza in the world versus the best pasta in the world, I'd probably take the pasta.
What do you think
Best in the world.
What do you think the best pasta is? What noodle? What would it be? Would it be lasagna? Would it be penne?
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Lasagna is fucking good.
You think that's the best noodle?
I don't know if it's the best noodle, but
That's what you
That's
said.
your favorite dish.
That's I think that's one of the best Italian dishes. But that's
I
what I'm
can see
saying
that.
is that pasta, it's so more varied than pizza.
How fucking dare you?
Manicotti,
You're lucky I can't reach you right now.
penne,
I'd slap that smirk right off your
Fusilli.
face.
spaghetti, bucatini. They're all different.
Then you get into gnocchi and you're like, what even is this?
Bucatini is a superior spaghetti for sure.
But it's interesting because every pasta is designed to pair well with a specific sauce.
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yeah, because grooves versus like the flatness or
Versus
the
macaroni.
width can carry a specific amount of sauce.
capellinis.
Yeah, so then the way that like sauce or meat or vegetables
Whatever.
cling to it.
Blend.
Yeah, it's like a science.
But wait, is there one perfect pairing of each sauce to pasta? Like, does each pasta have
There's
its
an elite
perfect...
pairing. That's why when you go to a Italian restaurant, you
Yeah.
see pappardelle, it's usually with like a pork,
It's a
like
heavier.
a ragu,
Yeah.
or if you
It's
see
just thrilling.
Yeah, or like there's very specific things. I mean, there's a reason why when you get like cacio e pepe, it's the same type of noodle.
And like fettuccine is with the Alfredo, but linguine is typically with a lighter sauce. It can sometimes be a red sauce, but typically it's a seafood, like an oil seafood or an oil or a like red sauce seafood.
It's making me so hungry.
I have this breakfast burrito that's been sitting on the table. I've had it for a few hours. Is it okay to eat?
Why is it not?
Oh my gosh. Have you not heard about the carb burrito? a few hours is nothing. I honestly don't know if I should tell the story or if we should get Will Whitwer in to tell it.
Will has a car
Wait.
burrito.
I don't know if Will should be my barometer for healthy eating. Nothing against Will, but
Did he keep a burrito in the car for a long time?
For like 3 days.
Oh, no.
And then he ate
Was
it.
he, if he was in Minnesota and it was winter, sure.
No, he was in Los Angeles.
Then nope.
And he thinks it's fine.
It's not fine.
I know. And he was like, oh, well, like nothing bad happened. But he literally has such bad gastrointestinal issues that he talks about openly.
I gotta come out with it. I admit I probably would be a Will in that situation.
You'd eat it?
But you have an iron stomach.
I know, but I also I'm very go with the flow. People think
Yeah.
that I'd be like, ew. No, I'd be like, if something drops on the floor outside and it's
Yeah.
a delicious piece of food, of course I will eat it.
It depends on
If
the
it's in the
floor.
sand, I'll eat it.
Like a lasagna.
I don't care.
Did you ever work in restaurants?
And I've worked in restaurants.
Did you eat? Did you take the plates away and eat?
Absolutely. And that is not allowed in restaurants. But when you're a server, one of the biggest rules is you can't eat
Yeah.
the food that's left over. But when you're working
the power.
2 shifts in a day, and
Yep.
I worked at this dim sum place, so
Yeah.
it's all hand up dumplings you could just grab.
Oh, it's dim sum.
Someone eats someone eats one dumpling and
Yeah.
leaves 6.
Yeah.
And I bring it back and it's 8 p.m. and I didn't have any food.
Yeah.
I'm
and
shoving,
they make you work 12 hours.
shoving those dumplings in my mouth,
yeah.
baby. Oh yeah. I was like a rabid little squirrel in the corner eating. But a lot of servers do that.
Did you get yelled at a lot when you were a server? Not
By
by
who?
the customers, but by your managers.
No, not by my managers.
Okay.
I think it was for me, the worst part about being a server was the customers. I would say
Yeah.
it was namely customers, service, front facing positions are, I always believe people should be required to have a year of that. Almost like
Yeah.
semester abroad. You have to be in
servers.
retail or in the food industry just to get the brunt of just irate.
Yeah.
People get more irate about things
Yeah.
a bill as
Yeah.
opposed, or just something that they expect, this was supposed to have this versus this, than they do about politics.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
yeah.
just
Well,
so
I know
strange.
that if you have that experience, you will never in your life be rude to a server.
Yeah.
Because it's just what?
It's just come
what?
on.
You're beating that down on the wrong people.
And what I don't think people realize is the server often has been there for 9 hours. You just came into the restaurant, but they didn't. They're exhausted. You know?
Also, the talent of being, whether you're a bartender or server or retail, juggling 20 tables at once.
Yeah.
You're doing just quick math in your head.
Yeah.
And you are quite literally sprinting the entire day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did you work as a server?
5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you start in college?
I did 1 year in high school, and then I did 4 years I guess 6 years actually total. I did it to support myself while I was freelancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you freelanced before you went to BuzzFeed?
Yeah.
What did you
Freelance
make?
for 5 years, music videos, commercials, things that were
Oh.
cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool
but mainly
stuff.
kind of nose to the grindstone. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just very much whatever job I could
Sounds
take.
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have an existential
Oh my
crisis?
God, this is like a.
I know. I'm just sort of
Inside the actor's studio
I
with
feel
Rainie.
I think I've asked them these same questions. But
okay.
So that's why I wanted. So when you graduated college, in between graduating college and getting a full-time job, how did you sort of did you freak out every day? Because I did.
Oh yeah. I was in a constant flux of anxiety and still am to a certain degree. But I
Yeah.
think that's pretty natural,
Yeah.
especially when you're in your 20s.
I want to say on the record, Rainie, you're way more successful at your age than we were at your age.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I feel wait, when did you guys
You're-
get
you're-
into BuzzFeed?
I didn't know us when I was your age.
26 or 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm a year younger than you guys.
But Keith and I also graduated college in the recession, which was not fun.
Woo.
It wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I was poor.
It was job markets are always scary,
Yeah.
I
but
was
that
making
was
$17,000 a year.
Yeah. Where did you live?
Chicago in
Where,
an
like,
apartment with a bunch of boys.
With a bunch of boys.
Bunch
Okay.
of boys.
How dirty was it?
Dirty. It was a bunch of boys. I
Yeah.
mean, definitely my room was not well maintained, but it was
Mm-hmm.
okay. We had a couple of us were cleaner boys than
Did you have
most
mice,
boys.
maggots, bed
No-
bugs, rats?
No maggots. Oh my god, maggots.
I had maggots once.
From what?
I lived in the boys' frisbee house in college, and we had mice, maggots,
The
and bed
boys
bugs.
need-
frisbee house.
You need
yeah.
dead stuff for that.
Girl, I don't know. It was they were in the trash.
We didn't have mice. Okay, baggers could get in the trash, I guess, but that's tough. You have to let your trash be there for a long time and have like a piece of meat that flies could lay eggs in and then hatch.
Wait,
into
where were
maggots.
the maggots? Were they in the trash can? Because that happens, but
Yeah, they were in the trash can. And
In
I was
the
just
house?
like,
that happens.
Guys, it's
That
Thanksgiving.
happens.
People are cooking meals. This is the
Well, you got-
absolute last
You
thing they
gotta
want
work
to hear
for.
about.
You gotta watch out for bed bugs.
yeah, well, we also had bed bugs, but for some reason I didn't get them. They were only in my
It's a
apartment.
classic
Must not have tasted
co-living
good
experience.
enough.
Is the
I know.
bed bug scare.
Yeah.
I know.
You
It's
gotta like burn your stuff.
Yeah.
You have to throw away all your belongings and then consider that maybe you don't want to live anymore either because you'll never be clean again. And then you somehow move on. But it takes years.
Did you have fights about cleaning then? Or was everybody just sort of like,
No, everybody
yeah.
did their bullshit.
Yeah.
But in college, I had roommates that didn't clean after themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We had to have some living room talks.
Store wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not even that. It was just like, guys, you have to do something. You
Yeah.
can't not ever grocery shop and not wash the dishes and
Right.
not cook and not vacuum. Like you have to do something.
You were being like their mother.
Yeah, and
You were sort of
basically,
the-
and it was no good. It didn't work. for
Yeah.
that. But yeah, after college, no, I luckily had guys who were a little bit more put together and like
Yeah.
we cleaned. And it
Okay.
wasn't as clean as Becky would want it.
I do think she told a story on You Can Sit With Us that was, I asked Keith where the cleaning supplies were, and he said in the store.
Whoa.
Store. We didn't clean a lot, and that was in LA, and that was because I went from being like poor at home to then having a job, and then like I didn't have a car, so my commute to BuzzFeed was like on public transit. So I was like gone at 7 a.m. and home at like 7:30 p.m. and I was like I was dead at the end of the day. I just wasn't able to do anything else.
Yeah.
But I was no longer eating meals at the home either.
Uh-huh.
I was eating everything, all the food at BuzzFeed.
Did they have a cafeteria or was it like?
No, I just ate their snacks. I just lived off snacks.
Snack line.
We had
Lived off
lunch,
snacks.
and then sometimes I'd buy lunch, but typically I had breakfast made of some sort of snacks. I made peanut butter toast every day.
with banana.
Yeah, with bananas
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and a can of apple juice.
We have toast here. I would love some friggin' peanut butter
we
toast
gotta get
snack.
toast.
That sounds good as
We
hell.
gotta get toast.
But Rainie, to your point, I would say anyone out there who experiences like employment anxiety, it's totally normal.
Yeah.
And people who see even our history, especially like
Yeah.
landing a gig at what was fledgling BuzzFeed. I mean, I was 28
Yeah.
and that was seen as a failure to most people who knew me.
Oh yeah, I
It
was
was
an
like I
intern.
was admitting defeat
Oh my god.
because freelance was so hard. I mean, I would just be editing for pennies,
Yeah.
shooting for
We
pennies.
were
for just, like,
interns. Imagine being a 27 or 28-year-old intern in the industry you went to school for.
yeah, and I
Not
went-
a film company, at a fledgling internet startup,
Yeah.
video startup.
Yeah,
it was
short
a
form.
big. Now, for me, I had never had any job in the arts, so I was like, "Well, I'm totally fine. I need to learn more."
Mm-hmm.
But for like Eugene, who is way overqualified for that title,
well, it was interesting. It was
For you, it was a big deal. Eugene failed.
for me, it was like, "I'm gonna make it."
and I'm not going to broadcast how many student loans I was able to take out as a film student at USC. It was a lot, and I think that the millennial complex, which is very much like the first, I think, recognition that higher education might just like not be worth it in
Yeah.
some ways.
Yeah.
Like there's way more ways that one can
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
can
It's not the
establish
only
themselves.
way,
Yeah,
for
we were
sure.
raised to really
It's
think
the
like
only way.
Yeah.
the best thing you can make of yourself is go to college, and if you can afford to take on enough student loans, like you'll be basically guaranteed job security. And when the recession hit, right when I graduated, that was like not the case. And I went to like arguably what was considered the top film school in the world.
Right.
And I walked out of there and I was like, well, none of us are getting hired. So that's why I became a waiter again. Yeah. So, but that's that, then back to the first point, that's kind of the beauty of service jobs is that you make lifelong friends with those people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Those are people like you kind of end up hating people in offices just because office settings are so corporate and, there's
Yeah.
so many people that you just
Well, there's a common
pass.
enemy for
Yeah.
for wait staff. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it's table 3.
Yep.
And then the person walks in, you're just like, you get it, girl? And they're like, all right, you owe me one. And then, it's just, I certainly have so many friends that I definitely
What
will
are they? Are
ride
they
or die for.
scattered in different industries?
Yeah, and a lot of them were very much, because this is LA, like
Yeah.
focused on either performance, like acting or behind the camera, and they're all doing really well now, which is great.
Oh, we love a success story.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just work hard and hopefully things turn out. But sometimes things are out of our control, which sucks.
It takes way longer. I feel like in college, it's like instant, just so fast paced. And then once you graduate, it's like takes just years for anything to happen.
I'm not in college anymore, but I do sometimes feel like I'm cramming, like I'm in school. You know, I'm not pulling all-nighters, but I'm staying up late. I'm working. You know, we work hard over here at TriCorp, and it reminds me back during my college days when I was cramming for that test. Sometimes you just don't have time to cook yourself a meal. Also, I'm bad at cooking. So DoorDash comes in and saves my behind to give me that fuel when I'm studying, when I'm staying up late, when I'm working long hours. DoorDash got my back. Get the back-to-school savings you really want and get unlimited free DoorDash delivery with Dash Pass. That's just $4.99 a month for students. How worth it? So worth it. For a limited time, our listeners can get 50% off up to a $20 value and $0 delivery fees when you download the DoorDash app and enter code TheTryPod. That's 50% off up to a $20 value and $0 delivery fees when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code TheTryPod. Don't forget, that's code TheTryPod for 50% off up to $20 value and $0 delivery fees with DoorDash. Subject to change, terms apply. Buffy is the award-winning brand from the likes of Good Housekeeping, Vogue, and a little someone named Oprah that has found that elusive balance and softness and breathability. We're talking about bedding. It's not overly hot and heavy. It's so soft. It's comfortable. You know why? They got their secret ingredient. It's eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is softer, okay? It's a better quality sheet. We got a comforter. Miles and I were just taking it out. We were rubbing down that blanket, feeling how soft it is. It is soft, but also they're talking about how breathable it is. I don't know about you. I sweat like a little pig in a blanket at night. I love to be cold and then wrap myself in blankets, but then if I have too many blankets, then I sweat and then I wake up and then I kick them off. I need a blanket that is just right. And what I love is that eucalyptus is a very eco-friendly alternative to cotton. In 2020, their eucalyptus sheets have saved 370 million liters of net fresh water versus using cotton. See why Buffy has over 50,000 five-star reviews and 1 million customers. Right now, visit buffy.co and check out with code TRYGUYS to receive 20% off your purchase. That's buffy.co, promo code TRYGUYS for 20% off. Well, we're talking about the past, but we're also, Eugene's here. And so we're thinking about the future. We're thinking about things that are on our minds. And I wanted to take this moment to maybe, you know, we've talked about how next year of Try Guys, there's going to be some changes.
Oh, I'm really curious about this.
We're going to be working on some new shows. And so I thought maybe for this chance, this opportunity of us together on the pod, we could do some free-form bad pitch only.
Oh.
Because I've got a show that I think we should be making.
Okay.
Ooh.
Rainie, hit us with the bad pitch
only.
theme song.
Bad ideas is not a slogan we use anymore.
Eugene left.
It took me a second to realize why that was so funny, and it's very funny.
Funny.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
That is so funny. Oh my God.
We might have to cut it though.
No, you are keeping that in. That is, wow.
So you have a bad pitch for us that we should
so
make?
funny.
This is a good pitch. We don't do bad
so
ideas.
funny, Rainie.
Good. I said bad pitch, not idea.
I had to throw away so many shirts.
Yeah. Goodwill got some items the last couple months.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that we were trying to start with like a very like serious reflection on
Yeah.
the millennial industry work complex, and now we just totally went off the rails.
Yep.
Well, that was great. Let's keep this energy going. Tell us your bad.
Okay.
This is a good idea.
This is
apparently.
this is a good idea.
Oh, good idea.
Now, we've been looking for a long time for an interview format, right? Keith loves hosting,
Sure.
Yeah.
and he's a great host.
I love it.
Better than us.
Well,
Well, better than a lot of people who get hired for hosts.
that's true.
That's
There's
for
some
darn
bad
tootin'.
hosts.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
interview format, right? How do we get more celebos on our channel? Right, we know
speaking
I
my
just have a
language.
quick question.
Yes.
Who first said celebos? It
Me.
makes my nipples invert themselves
my
out
fault.
of cringe.
That's on me.
Where did this word come from?
Celebo.
It's like people who say pep when they talk about pepper. Oh, a little black
Can
pep.
you, hey, pass the pep?
as opposed to
And you're like-
the one in your step.
Yeah, I was opposed to the one on my step. I don't mind the one on my step.
Did you
I
ever
don't-
find
not the
it
one on my bucatini?
Really cringy when your parents would use shortened words to like at like the dinner table specifically, like,
Sure.
like, can I have a glass of white Zin, please? Oh, mom, just say Zinfandel.
You know what my mom loves? My mom's a big fan of Target,
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
dancifying Target. And I'm like, come on, mom.
I mean this not as like a read, just as an observation. I think this is distinctly like
Wait.
white American culture.
Oh,
stuff,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Cute abbreviations of things that then get kind of passed down and shared amongst
Right.
groups.
And
Yeah.
BT dubs, I'm going to be that for my children.
BT does.
like,
I already am. I abbreviate the most
Oh, yeah.
infuriating things.
Why say the whole word when you can say half of it?
I'm trying to think of the thing that you abbreviate the most. Now I'm just imagining like mini Habersberger right now going like, can I meet the celebo?
That's so funny though.
Daddy.
But
Well,
your
it's
kid's
cute on a
not going to
kid.
say celebo. Your kid's going to be like, "Dad."
So I think it's because celeb to me is cringy instead of saying
More
celebrity.
cringy than celebo?
And so no, it's that's why I made a more cringy version because
Oh,
like
you're
if we're
leaning
gonna
into
be
it.
cringy,
Yeah.
let's be cringy. Let's say
Yeah.
celebo. That sounds so dumb.
You know what? I appreciate that.
Yeah.
TY,
Did you say
TY.
appreciate, huh?
I appreciate.
Yeah.
I can't find it in my text, but I abbreviated something the other day that as I was typing, I'm like, this is insufferable.
But it's more
Pretty
verbal. Like you don't write it out.
I did, which is why it was so bad.
You wrote it out?
Yeah, it was pretty insufferable.
You know what's interesting is like the movement of language and the way that we do things casually. Like I believe Gen Zers overall don't use things like LOL, right? It's more just like they'll write
Yeah.
out ha or something like that. But it's interesting
what I
how
do.
things. It's interesting how like that even just internet slang is generational in a strange way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
One thing in defense of LOL
Yeah.
is it also has the internet slang identity of meaning multiple things. So we put LOL on the ends of things
Oh, yeah.
to like
to make them less serious.
make them less serious. And something about
Sure,
saying
right.
ha ha at the end of something, which I think is also very Gen Z.
Yeah.
It's almost even more aware that it's self-serious. That is not self-serious. So it's like almost like drier. It's almost more of a
Right.
attack.
If
which-
somebody says ha ha to me, I'm like gonna send a
Yeah.
screenshot to my friend and be like, "Do you think this person's mad?"
yeah,
No, it almost
which I kind of like.
it's almost a tone. It's almost a tone indicator, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a tone indicator.
You're adding lol at the end of your sentence to show like
Oh, like, but we're good.
Yeah.
I'm not threatening.
Yeah.
I'm not upset. There's nothing. There's no more to read into this. Lol.
yeah,
Lol,
yeah.
lol, lol.
I do
Lol,
like,
lol.
and I used to not, but I do think it's funny to say lol.
Out
loud?
loud.
Uh huh. It's just
Have you-
funny. It's and I think it's leaning into the cringe of it again. It's like
Yeah.
lol,
Lol.
Lol cats.
lol.
Have you seen that thing that's like, it's crazy that LMAO stood around, but ROFL is dead.
And Rafflecopter.
What's Rafflecopter?
That's how people used to write raffle.
Copter?
They just put the word copter at the end, like a helicopter.
Like a little, oh, okay, that's kind
Rafflecopter.
of cute.
I
Raffle?
don't. That never hit me.
You never saw Rafflecopter? Eugene.
No,
No Rafflecopter?
absolutely not. I don't know what this is.
The Rafflesaurus, sure.
That's not real. Rafflecopter.
I don't know Rafflecopter.
Okay, I gotta look up Rafflecopter to make sure I wasn't living in a different dimension.
Maybe it was the mid 2010s with
Yeah, Rafflecopter. I only had to write Raffle with a letter C, and I got lots of Rafflecopter. Rafflecopter meaning. Rafflecopter blends the word helicopter and the internet acronym Raffle.
that part we got.
And it was coined in 2003 by moderators on a World of Warcraft 3 forum in reference to a vehicle in that online game known as the gyrocopter. So it came from video gaming.
a lot of stuff came from video gaming or just
Very-
people like speaking online
Very cool.
in those
Keith.
forums. Yeah.
Look, I'm just telling you what I saw. And I saw Rafflecopter.
I wonder if from mid 2010s, which we were obviously part of this, but this even like the BuzzFeed badges were
Oh yeah.
internet
Win.
speak. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think
Lol, OMG.
Fail. The thing about how funny a Rafflecopter is.
So just to be clear, you would like text something like we don't say bad ideas anymore, and you'd reply Rafflecopter.
I mean, we didn't text in 2003.
So you said this out loud.
Oh.
No, I said this on forums, and I actually never said it. I just knew of it. Or AOL Instant Messaging.
What forum were you on?
Oh, I was on a bunch of forums as a kid. I don't even remember specifically.
So this was like
It's 2003.
Early
So yes,
millennial.
this is like 2001 to 2005.
Wait,
I'm in high
wait.
school.
I didn't know that you were on a forum. What forum?
I was
This
on
is
like
exciting.
juggling forums.
the AOL chat room for juggling.
No, you fucking weren't.
How else was I going to learn how to juggle?
What did you talk about on a juggling forum?
People would explain and like post gifs of like how to do how to do like things I didn't know how to
This is
do.
adorable.
You
fucking darling.
I was a
nerd.
juggler.
Oh my god, you're so cute.
I didn't have it. Look, you gotta remember, you guys grew up in places with things, or at least you could get to things within an hour. It took me an hour to get to a shopping mall. It took me 45 minutes to get to a bowling alley.
Wow.
So that's where I was. So that means most days I'm not going to a shopping mall or a bowling alley or an arcade or a movie theater. They're all too far away. So what am I going to do? I can play my instruments. That's why I got good at French horn.
Yeah.
And I can juggle. I can do things that only require me.
Yeah.
And
you
juggling.
got damn good at it.
And I got good at those things. And so, you know what other forums are? Equally lame?
What?
Equally lame?
I think it's adorable, not lame.
Um,
I was on a lame one too.
LARPing forums where I made foam weapons and I fought my
Yes!
friends. And
No
I met
shit.
people in other parts of Tennessee and we met up and we fought each other with our foam weapons.
That
Oh
freaking
my
rules.
gosh.
How come we never did our
That's
we've never done a
so-
Try Guys LARPing video? We've
It's
talked
crazy.
about
No,
it.
it's always been on the docket.
It's a good one. We were going to do it in conjunction with the D&D one. We were going to do like Nerdcore as a
Yeah.
series.
But you kind of want to go to the true LARPing
we need to go on an overnight.
competitions or whatever.
They're in the
Yeah.
woods in the summer and all they do is battles all day fucking long. And
Just to
it's
out
like a
myself, I
blast.
was on a lost forum, and I shared theories about the show Lost, and we shared some bad theories.
And then also like, well, were you on the internet when there were chat rooms?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so I was in chat rooms too, and those are just arbitrary chat rooms.
yeah.
I don't even know who. I was on a chess forum, so I was trying to get good at chess for a while, and then I was like AOL Instant Messenger, so I
Right,
messaged
sure,
my
sure.
friends and emailed my friends, and that was basically it.
Okay, so to bring us back to
Yeah.
bad pitches,
ASL.
So LARPing is on our we must do.
The children listening will have no idea what that means.
ASL. Do you know ASL?
American Sign Language?
No,
That's what it
Well,
should
that's what it
be.
should mean.
Wait,
No.
what's
A
ASL?
/S
S/L.
Actually,
And
it's
usually
just
question mark.
It's just slash.
Just slash, but at the time it was backslash.
It used to be called backslash.
Mhm.
No kidding.
Yeah.
yeah.
No kidding.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Wait, what is it?
Age,
Sex,
sex,
Location. How
So you-
old are you? What's your gender?
Oh.
Where are you?
Because the chat rooms were a wild west of like real pervy, strange people.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the first time people can like anonymously like just talk to each other about stuff.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
let's be
gosh.
honest here. We were children, always pretending to be a little bit older than we
Yes.
were. So you would be like, say, 11, but you'd be like, I'm 16 and I'm in
Or
Florida.
like 13 male Florida.
Yeah.
What's that one that's like anonymous video chat and you can just go on and then like you're
Oh, there's a
paired
few
with
of those. There's
random
Chat
person?
roulette.
Chat roulette?
That's
Chat
way
there's
roulette.
another one.
past our time.
Omegle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did
that's
you-
way,
Oh, you
way
weren't
past
doing
our
Omegle.
childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't
Yeah.
exist until like 3 years ago or
No.
something.
No.
Oh no, like
Chat roulette was, I think, in our college or just after college time.
But AIM, like AOL Instant Messenger,
Yeah.
the best was just being able to directly, for the first time, like chat with your friends, like directly. That was
Yeah,
cool.
and you
But
can
then
leave it in a away
You can
message.
basically go to it's like a chat room list.
Yeah.
A huge list of all these different interests,
Mhm.
which for some just ended up being like, I can finally enter a gay chat room and talk to other gay people.
Uh-huh.
But I would say 95% of people at the time were
Yeah.
just catfishing because it was the thing you did as either like a little kid or as much more
I'm sure we all
despicably
talked
so
to
older
men
person.
at
But
some
like,
Yeah.
Right, like-
it
Well, there
was
was no verification too.
Yeah.
So when you first we're talking AOL, even before AIM, like when you
Yeah.
to get on the internet, you had to go into AOL. There were chat rooms, and it was like you could just pick whatever one you wanted. And so you would be like, okay, well, I'm 9, but I'm going to go into this chat room with 30-year-olds and I'm going to pretend I'm 30 today.
We were also of the age that, if you watch something like Pen 15 on Hulu, you'll see a great episode about it, but it's just kind of like most of us would do it with friends, or we'll just like sit around and be like, we're just going to talk to strangers today.
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
totally harmless.
Yeah.
Or you were in Tennessee like me and you were alone,
yeah.
so you were actually alone talking to people on the internet because there's no one else to talk to.
How big was your town? Like, did you have neighbors who were your age?
2,000 people, and we were the county seat. We were the big town.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, I grew up in like
2,000 people. So how many people your age?
Oh, the county seat.
I don't know how many people were in my grade.
Yeah.
So probably like 100,
100 people.
maybe less, maybe 80.
And you had a girlfriend in high school?
Uh-huh.
That you knew since you were born?
No. Sometimes
Did she
people
move
moved
in?
into town.
She was the
also,
new girl?
So and this I don't know if this term is what the term was called, but there were multiple elementary schools.
Uh-huh.
But they were called feeder schools because there were only 2 high schools.
Okay.
So when you got into high school, you met the people you never met before.
Yeah.
But they lived 3 miles from you. You just didn't meet them.
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, there's other people. And then sometimes I dated people that I knew from kindergarten at some point. We didn't like date,
Yeah.
but I like knew them.
Yeah.
And like I kissed some of them.
That's tea.
And it was like, and that because that was the dating pool.
Would you recommend it?
Kissing someone?
Growing up in a tiny town, I think there are advantages. It was very, very safe. Because
it was.
Yeah, because it like
you knew everybody.
You knew everybody. We didn't lock our door at our house ever.
Wow.
I was a latchkey kid, but I didn't need a key. I just came home. I'd be home for like an hour and a half by myself before my parents got home from their work, and I just did homework and chilled, watched Nickelodeon.
What did your parents do?
My mom was a teacher. My dad was a mining engineer.
Oh.
So he designed underground mines and made them more structurally sound, or like figured out if they were expanding a mine into a certain area of the ground, if it was safe, how far they could go.
That's high stakes job.
It was.
Yeah.
So it's the only occupation with its own Safety and Health Administration. It has OSHA and MSHA, the Mining Safety and Health Administration, because it's so fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
And if you do things wrong, people die. Also, you do things super wrong, people above the mine die. Like you can make sinkhole. You're under people sometimes in your mind. Your mind might be under the entire town. Do something wrong,
No kidding.
the town collapses.
So it was a mining. Was it a mining?
That's
it
very
wasn't a mining
rare,
town,
obviously.
right?
But it was a mining town.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the main occupations of the town was the mine.
Wow.
Because we lived in the mountains.
What were you mining?
Zinc.
Oh, for what?
Zinc.
What does zinc do?
Zinc is in
Rainie's
some
so inquisitive.
construction materials. Zinc is also like a thing we eat in some small amounts, but when you're mining it, I don't know if that's how it's used, but it's in it's in a lot of stuff. But I moved away eventually because the cost of mining zinc at some point was higher than the cost of selling zinc. So a lot of zinc mines closed, including the zinc mine that we had. So we moved away, but now that zinc mine is open again because it has changed. And zinc is more valuable because a lot of zinc mines closed. So then there was a scarcity. So then some of them reopened.
Okay, we'll get back to the bad ideas. But first, when did you, how old were you when you moved and the mines closed down? And where'd you move to?
17, Illinois.
When the mines closed
Yeah,
down.
I moved when I was 17.
Were you upset to move?
No, I was kind of excited. I mean, part of me, I had a girlfriend, but my girlfriend.
Eugene is here. This is a rare occurrence.
I know, but I'm
talk about the
I'm
mine
interested in
anyway.
zinc. I'll learn about zinc.
Well, I had a girlfriend who played French horn, but she went to another school. So we were already kind of long distance, but then that was definitely the beginning of the end of that relationship, of course.
Yeah.
Can't maintain it.
Yeah, you had a true small town upbringing.
True small town.
I had a kind of in between.
You were smallish.
No, I
for
was
sure.
a small town
Yeah.
to suburban of a major booming city.
That's right.
So I went from growing up in development where every house next to you was being built. And we had, I grew up across a farm with horses, which got knocked down.
Wait, I thought I only knew Pflugerville.
Pflugerville's where I grew up, yeah.
Right, but you said, did I
was
just miss
suburban-
here? I thought you
suburban
just said that
sprawl.
you moved.
No, well, I mean, I actually was born in a small town near Waco, which a lot of people don't know. And then I moved to Pflugerville as a child.
Wait, you also grew up with horses?
Horses around me.
So you and Matt sort of are riders together?
No, he was more in the like families that would invest in having their kids sit on the horses. I was the kid who
Eugene grew up near horses.
I would look at the horses across the street.
Matt
and go,
was equestrian.
Yeah, I was like, cool, look at that horse.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because we had
the horses.
Yeah.
He was an equestrian person. Eugene was a horse guy.
Yeah. It was interesting from the, I guess, like, cause coming from immigrant parents, I was the signal of a town growing. Like our family was representative of it becoming less like Keithstown.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because we had people moving in to start working at places in Austin.
Yeah.
So now Pflugerville is considered like pretty much like a little city connected to Austin.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was a child in the 80s, it was like nothing.
Yeah.
There was so few people there. Certainly no Asians, but now there's huge Asian American community.
It's so crazy because Denver, when I was growing up, was pretty small. Like even when I was growing up, and that was like 10 years ago, and now it's just like giant. Every time I come home, it's like the skyline is bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, but it's so weird. Did you have like? I mean, I know my dad grew up in Denver with like dirt roads. Like that's how fast.
That's so different than the Denver that I know.
I know. Yeah.
We called them. God, I don't know if this is appropriate, but people call them the drunk driving roads.
Oh,
they're like the 2-lane roads that people just would go 100 miles per hour down in the middle of the night after drinking or something, and they would be like, "Well, that's where this person died."
Right.
Yeah, because it's just like in the middle of nowhere.
There's some areas with like
dangerous.
not really a speed limit in Texas, or that it's a high speed limit, and it's a 2-lane
Just
road,
a 2-lane
but it's
road,
like a 75-mile-an-hour speed limit. So people are going like 85 or 90 on it. And
They've
there's no.
adjusted that now, which is good.
It's fine. I've driven on it before, and it was terrifying. Yeah, that was like northern Texas though that I did when I was, because there's fucking nothing up there.
Yeah. Wait, but I still want to hear your interview show.
Go back to the interview show.
Well, that's what we've been building up to this whole time. This is kind of a taste of the interviews that you might get on my phone. So I'm hoping that we can come up with some new formats for our channel. And this is one I've been thinking about. It's called Hot Ones. And it's an interview show where you eat increasingly hot food.
Really? I think this has
not in
legs.
spice, in temperature.
It's just plagiarism.
But you're still calling it Hot Ones?
No, so it burns your mouth. You're basically lightly and to severely burning your mouth.
So it's like Natalie Portman burns the roof of her mouth while telling us about Thor.
Boiling kimchi stew. That's a hot one.
I would argue that maybe Korean cuisine has the hottest temperature.
You do.
Because our potware and everything is designed to maintain
just iron.
heat.
Yeah.
So my experience eating food growing up was you have to burn your mouth or it's not good.
Hell yeah. Well, there's something to it. This was inspired by, we had what dish was it, Keith, that we ate that like the heat was part of the experience. It was it was these mushrooms that we had.
Oh yeah, we had these really hot, like, these were not psychedelic mushrooms, by the way. They were just oyster mushrooms, and there were actually a variety
What
of
cuisine
mushrooms.
was it?
Japanese-ish.
Yeah.
But it was like just really fucking delicious mushrooms, and they were
But
hot
they
as
were
balls.
sizzling, like in a iron pot. So like it just had the temperature was wild.
And you know mushrooms, they're full of water, so they're just boiling hot. If you've ever had a deep fried mushroom, you'd be like, oh my God, how am I supposed to eat this? It's so fucking hot.
And so it made me think of what is the threshold I can go to? And then, you have the first interview round and you go, oh yeah, that's pretty warm food. The second round, you go, ha, 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 and you're answering a question while you do that. I think this got legs.
I know the payoff of kind of circumventing what your great idea was really relied on what the actual idea was. And it's a terrible idea, Zach.
It's a terrible idea.
It's really bad. You're not only plagiarizing the name of a very famous interview show.
Wait, I am?
Hot Ones.
What's that? That's the show I just came up with.
He's playing silly.
You're being silly, Zach.
I think this is I'm going to make a TikTok and it's going to crush.
Oh, it could be called Burning Questions.
That's better.
That's Ellen's thing.
Yeah, that is Ellen's
fuck.
thing.
I like
Or
Hot
was her
Ones
thing.
more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hot Ones is a great title and a great show.
What if I call it Hot?
What if it's HAUTE?
Hot.
Hot ones.
There
Hot
is, I think,
Ones. That's
copyright applies to sound-alikes as well.
Fuck.
Oh, I've got an idea. Brittany Broski on Eat the Menu.
I'm down.
Why not make her our inaugural guest on Hot Ones?
Okay. She can do both. It's
Okay.
a yes and situation.
Well, if you're telling me that's a bad idea, top it.
What would be a worse idea?
Well, should we? Since
You know what? I honestly, it was an idea that I thought someone like cut video or the people who do like the lineup style videos would be. And it would be called, "Can these 30-year-olds tell what age these kids are?"
Oh, that's funny.
Because
looking at a kid.
Yeah, I like sometimes Becky and I were driving somewhere and we're like, "Look at those high schoolers." I'm like, are they high schoolers? How old do you think they are? 14? They could be 18. Maybe they're 12.
I think for
I
that
can't
to
tell
work,
their
though,
age.
you need a kid to come in one at a time. Because if I
Yeah.
see a whole bunch of kids, then I'll be able to be like, okay, well, no, I thought that this kid was 14, but this is clearly a 14-year-old, so this kid must be whatever.
Yeah.
So you do one at a time. I think I would do terribly.
We basically saw these three, I think, 15-year-olds. And we started being like, okay, well, the 3 skateboarding kids, they probably aren't 16 or else they'd be in a car. Just because it was like a Saturday, they'd be cruising around. They wouldn't be skateboarding, but maybe they would. I don't know. And then one of them had a pair of weed socks, like had a big marijuana leaf on their socks. I'm like, okay, well, that screams high school. That tell me like that's probably more 17 or 18. So maybe they're about to go to college or they're in college if they're able to wear weed on their clothing because their parents probably wouldn't be into that.
But we're also in Southern California.
We're also in Southern California.
Maybe they didn't know it was weed.
It was like, I feel like it was a weed flower plant wearing sunglasses. It was like the weediest
Smoking
of
their
weeds.
doobie.
Yeah. And then
That also sounds like a high school thing, though.
it does.
Yeah.
But we just could not gauge their age. And I was like, I bet this is not just us. Oh, gauge your age.
Gauge your
Really good.
age.
Keith has a knack
for names. I got the names ready to go. But I think there could be a whole series of like just celebrities trying to guess the ages of teenagers because we have also like style is better now because of like the internet. Like
that really, yeah.
Kids
that makes
dress
Oh my gosh.
way better than we did, or at least I did.
Literally, the makeup game, they look like they're better makeup than me.
Yeah.
No, dude, there's some things that we filmed in our try history where they put us in just a little bit of makeup and I'm like, who is that hottie?
Yeah, makeup makes you look better. Also, I
it
want to talk to
does.
my guy friends about products. I like because that's sort of like a fun topic. What do you use?
I'll work on it and I'll get back to you.
Honestly,
so we can do
I would
a little...
love
All right.
spend a week at least.
I'm just so fucking
It's gonna take
lazy.
longer.
Yeah.
I know that's the issue for me too.
I'm so fucking lazy. I don't
And
even like washing my face at night.
See, I love not washing
Yeah.
my face at night. If I
Yeah.
wear makeup, I'd
You
have
you
to.
gotta.
You don't wash your face at night ever?
Don't tell Becky.
I just prefer not to.
I
Does
almost
it make
never
it dry?
I just don't want. I just
just-
want
It's
to go
just
to fucking
boring?
bed.
When
Yeah.
I'm done with the day, I want to be in bed as quick as
The
possible.
day is over.
Yeah.
Floss, brush, goodbye.
Brush. Goodbye.
Gosh, it was rainy all last week here in LA, but it's sunny out today. But I could use a little more precipitation.
Drip.
Maybe it's time for some rainy day thoughts
drop,
with Rainie. Toll.
Here she comes to rain her stories.
Is there no official song? Is this the actual song?
Yeah.
Oh.
Here she comes to rain her stories onto us. So put away your umbrellas. It's time for girls and fellas to learn what Rainie has to say. It's rainy day thoughts. It's rainy day thoughts. It's rainy day thoughts.
Wow. That was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Put
You
that
wrote
on
it.
Spotify.
You wrote it. I just sang it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like you also performed it and just put it in our voices, which
Yeah.
is crazy
That
that you
was
did that.
really. I'm about to take that, export it as MP3, and that's my new song.
Great.
Like Miles.
Cool.
Wow. That was harmonized. Okay. I've got a series of questions. So the question is.
Wait, should we get some increasingly hot food? I think we can kind of make this like our test.
Yeah.
I tell you what, this burrito's cold as heck. So if you want to start there,
I put it in a car for 3 days.
I could put it outside.
I think that's a bad idea.
Okay. Do you think these couples would stay together after the movie ended?
I love this.
Okay.
Because we always assume that at the end of the movie they stay together forever. One of my favorite movies of all time, The Apartment. Someone asked the director, Billy Wilder, what happened to the characters afterwards.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, they probably break up in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, and people were devastated by that answer. I love it.
Okay. The Titanic, if Jack didn't die.
Oh, wow. That hurts.
They would not stay together.
No, I don't think they
That
would.
was a vacation relationship. We've all had them.
I don't know, but there was also class involved, and she also basically cut off an engagement and her entire family. Like she basically said, "Fuck you, mom." She was like, "Get in the boat, Rose. Get in the boat."
Yeah.
Goodbye, mother.
I have a child.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I have a child.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, I do a really good Billy Zane as Cal impression.
You do.
Yeah.
It's like my go-to.
Well, let's think about the little details we have.
Put a coat on her.
Let's fucking film theory this shit, right?
The jewel in the coat. I put the coat on her.
That's the one you most frequently.
Oh yeah, it's
quote.
great at parties because someone starts laughing like nonstop because the one Titanic stand.
It's so good. But we see a little bit of Rose's life thereafter, right? So she gets to New York.
That's actually, I didn't think about that. Yep.
She
Continue.
pretends to be a Dawson. She starts over, but we see how she's doing as an old lady. She did pretty well for herself.
I think she marries this another man. She has children because you see with
You're right.
the pan
granddaughter.
over the photographs. I know a lot about Titanic.
I just watched it for the first
It's
time.
a cinematic masterpiece.
It's amazing.
It's so fucking
It's a
good.
crazy movie.
Do you know how they made it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they've used the sound stages with the full tanks.
Yeah, and James Cameron's the greatest fucking director ever. That's how.
Yeah, because I was like, I was just like, first of all, I don't really think the first half has that much to do with the second half.
That's the beauty of
Oh,
the
they're
film.
building up the
I guess
relationships.
the class,
It's
the
just
class
getting you to-
relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting you to invest.
See, I was sort of like, these guys, they're not in love.
Hilarious.
They're not.
No,
in love.
I think based on the central premise of Rose moving away from her lifestyle and also like cutting ties with everyone she knows.
Yeah.
And then Jack moving in the opposite direction, I can see that maybe that won't sustain itself.
Yeah.
But because it's centered around like a literal great trauma,
Right.
I do feel like that they would give it a go for a while.
That's
Yeah.
a good
Because there's
point.
too much. They would both be like, Jack was moving back to, I forgot what Midwestern
Wisconsin,
state.
I think.
And he basically had nothing. And she would also leave with nothing after the tragedy.
Right.
And she's on the run essentially.
Right.
So
And-
I think Jack would be great for
look-
helping her out with that.
Is Rose running to Jack or running away from the patriarchal structure of her life?
That's what I think. I read it. I would read it more as like he represented something that she wanted, but I do think you're right about the trauma. The trauma would probably trauma bond them.
And just remember, when she passes away, it's not the husband she spent probably 50 plus years with in her life that meets her at the clock.
It's
she
the best dick
and
she ever
goes
had.
back to Jack. So I'm just gonna say, yeah, I think they would have made it work. Also, considering the time period,
I think you convinced me.
I think sacrificing that much for someone, especially like you just bucked so many societal norms. I feel like that would sustain you for a good 10 to 15 years. And if they had kids together, I think they would stay together too.
Jack and Rose, make it forever.
Wow.
Make it forever.
You heard it here second.
Okay. Next up, Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Darcy, Elizabeth Bennet.
Ooh.
I think they would stay together.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The hand.
I think they do stay together because that's probably what all the readers believe. And if you have 100% of the readers believing it, it's got to be true.
Although I do think Enemies to Lovers is sketchy.
It is, but
But that's
So,
most.
Pride and Prejudice is. I mean, again, I think
That's
I'm taking
most
time period into it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was modern day Pride and Prejudice,
Yeah.
I don't think they would stay together because that's a classic. Like
Yeah.
what is it? Enemies to lovers. It's hard to work out in real life, but
Yeah.
because of the time period and what Elizabeth represents and what Mr. Darcy was representing, as they sort of like
Yeah.
again were going against the expectations of their
Mm-hmm.
roles. This is very clearly like talk between me and Ray about like Pride and Prejudice and Titanic. I think that just also both of them out of stubbornness they would stay together.
Yeah.
And they're honestly the most exciting intellectual
People in the town.
people in the town. So
Yeah.
having that like,
Yeah.
God, imagine being in that time
Yeah.
period in that place and finding like your intellectual match.
That's going to
That's the
keep you
hottest
going.
thing ever.
I have chills. Like
Yeah,
it's
seriously.
just so hot.
You can read? that must have been how it was sometimes back then. It was like, you can read and write? Oh, shit.
Hubba,
Oh,
But
baby.
it's what they read. It's like
Right.
what Elizabeth
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
Mr. Darcy would be into, you know?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Zach, what's your vote?
I'm not going against y'all. I'm on board.
I
on board.
agree.
I don't really remember Pride and Prejudice that well. It's been a while.
Have they done like a Pride and Prejudice like
Reboot?
2022, but like
The way that they keep
slight-
remaking Emma and
Yeah, like, but like they, it's basically just it's reskinned. Like there's a different names on top of it, but it is exactly Pride and Prejudice.
I mean,
like, exactly.
It's a Jane Austen, especially Pride and Prejudice, is reworked like a billion ways.
times. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there's probably been some form of reboot, remake, rehash over the past 5 years that
someone
we're just not
listening at home is screaming at their AirPods.
Vince Vaughn was in it.
Oh,
it was
of course.
Vince Vaughn.
Fire Island. The
Oh!
Hulu film.
there it is.
Yeah.
Booster.
You're
It
right.
is
Yeah.
A retelling
Great.
of Pride and Prejudice from the gay Asian male perspective.
Yeah.
There you
It's
go.
just like, it's just I mean, I'm not like an Austen stan, but Pride and Prejudice just like really gets me. And the Keira Knightley, Matthew McFadden version, you cannot with the sweeping score. And Keira just standing
For the
there
record,
going,
that was
"Mr.
Rainie
Darcy,
who
It was
was
Rainie
eating it
who
up.
was eating it up.
and she's just standing there in the rain with her joy on. Keira and Matthew in that. I can't believe Matthew McFadden's on Succession.
He is?
Playing like almost like such a different role from Mr. Darcy.
Okay, now I'm thinking about Atonement.
Oh, Atonement. Oh, Atonement. Oh, yeah.
I will say Succession, I thought was a comedy, and I started watching it, and I did not think it was funny.
Succession.
It's a very dark comedy.
It is funny,
okay.
but it's not always. A lot of time it's really intense.
I'm ready for a Keira Knightley renaissance.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, where's she
It's
been at?
past time.
Yeah,
What's she
she-
doing?
Where has she been?
She's been doing roles here and there. But
Keira.
Yeah.
She just chilling. My name is Domino.
My favorite thing is like the TikToks where it's just like, oh, snow. It's just like people like doing the Keira voice.
Yeah.
This is so specific.
Okay, next one. Ryan Reynolds, Sandra Bullock in The Proposal.
I have
I
no
didn't watch
opinion on
that.
this.
You guys haven't watched it?
I don't
Wait,
think
this
I've
is-
seen The Proposal. But are we
How
talking
could you be so incredulous with that
It's
question?
a big movie.
But it's not like, I
but
wouldn't say that's the top
I'm
tier
really
rom-com
not a
of the era.
romantic comedy.
Oh my gosh,
boy.
this is exciting because we're going to get engagement. People are going to write in and be like, The Proposal is the biggest movie in the world.
No, what year did the Proposal come out? Okay, give us the basic plot line of Proposal.
2009.
Yeah, the basic plot is essentially Sandra Bullock is like a nightmare boss. Ryan Reynolds is her assistant, obviously in publishing, and he wants to like get a promotion. She is Canadian, and so she has to go to she's getting deported.
Oh, she's getting deported.
But she needs a green card, so they go to Alaska to visit his family, and they learn everything about each other. And then they like quote unquote fall in love. But I think
I'm going to say they're not staying together.
yeah,
I'm going to
it's
say
messy.
they're not staying together.
She's his boss?
Maybe I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say
And
that's
he's
a
an
bad.
assistant? No.
That's a bad idea. I'm going to say I'm going to say that we're going to move on.
But seriously, I mean, you could cite like what are the biggest rom-coms of the era? Like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Oh my gosh, I love that one. I love that one.
Are you a rom-com
Oh my
Of
gosh.
course
I'm
she is.
queen? Okay.
You're a rom-com boy.
I'm just a cinephile, so I just like anything that's just
But you like
enjoyable.
these rom-coms that are just like
You like also
fun
trashy rom-coms.
Oh yeah, like I mean, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I do think I'm just sort of like she can do it. Just because she's hot doesn't mean she can lose a guy in 10 days.
But I think that they didn't stay together.
No,
I think the prompt of them, but it's like a challenge, right? They were challenged to basically
Right.
do the opposite of one another.
Yeah.
And if your whole relationship premise is based on like the challenge of you're a womanizer and you're trying to stick with someone versus you can prove that you can like make a guy hate you.
Yeah.
The groundwork isn't
just
there. The
not
foundation's
gonna-
not there. It's
I
just
just-
two beautiful people who like
Right.
had a
who
cute
are sort of
moment.
witty.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
looked up a list of the best rom-coms of all time, and this list is wild. It has Eternal Sunshine as the number 3. It's not a rom-com. That's
Interesting.
Oh, but do they stay together? Now let's get into your lane.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point of it is how they're kind of doomed and destined to. No, they don't stay together, but then they're going to keep doing it again because love is heartbreak.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's like it's the pain that you will gladly go back to again and again.
Absolutely.
That's ultimately the ending of
It's
that
kind of
movie.
like in itself a critique of the idea of it's like subverting the idea of what you expect from.
And I just rewatched Eternal Sunshine, and I feel like the takeaway of that is that like even if most relationships are doomed to hurt you and rip your heart out and leave you with a pain deeper, because if most relationships don't work out,
Yeah.
and you are going to be left with a pain unlike any wound you have ever felt in your life, and it is totally worth it. And it is a pain that you will gladly sign up for again and again and again because the highs associated with it are better than anything else on earth. And that's pretty fucking beautiful.
It's a top tier movie, top 10 for me.
It's a good one.
What's your favorite rom-com, Rainie?
Oh, what's my favorite? You know what I actually I don't know if this is my favorite, but I just saw Plus One. Have you seen that movie? Anybody?
Who's that with?
Maya Erskine and
I love
Jack
Maya
Quaid.
Erskine.
Yeah. and Meg Ryan's son.
Do you know Maya
That was a
Erskine?
Netflix movie.
I don't know if they're fiance or boyfriend.
Yeah.
Is the lead from
Sky High.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that couple.
I saw them together in an event, and I was like, "Oh,
made
I
me
love
so
this."
You
happy.
saw them together?
Yeah, I was just like, well, for me being a nerd, I was just like, oh, he's from other great things too, but
He's
Sky High was
dated some very cool people. We just
Yeah.
did this on Guilty Pleasures. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
It was like, who was it? They were like really. He ran the like
plus one has
he dated
the nepotism baby.
Meg
Jack-
Ryan's son.
Yes, Jack
I
Quaid
also
from
yeah
The Boys.
he's
Yes,
really hot.
is this on your list of people? In my absence from the TryPod, I just keep getting updates. I'm always like, how's Rainie doing? And they're like, Keith's like, she has a list of people she wants to maybe kiss.
I sort of have my crush list that I
She
just
has an
read to you guys.
extensive crush list.
Yeah. Wait.
I was just showing. Okay, so Maya Erskine's husband, Michael
Oh, yeah.
Angarano from Sky High.
Yeah.
He's dated. Why am I blanking on her name? Kristen Stewart and Juno Temple, and is married to Maya Erskine. That's
Probably really
crazy.
awesome.
I couldn't be more lost in these conversations.
I'm so sorry.
I just like.
What's your favorite rom-com, Keith?
I don't have one. I don't know it when people are saying celebrities' names. Nothing pops into my head. No
Bella
image.
Bella from Twilight.
Okay.
What's her name? The from Ted Lasso. Keely,
Oh my gosh.
the famous woman from Ted Lasso.
Blonde.
Yeah.
I kind of can see her.
But not
They're together.
They have dated.
Cool.
Did you watch Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
It's pretty
It
good.
was, but the problem with Ted Lasso, the only problem, if it isn't a problem, is that every single episode resolves, so I have no desire to watch the next one.
But then they get a little darker in the
they
later
do.
seasons.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
first season, I loved it, but I was like, I don't need to watch another episode. Everything works out. And most shows keep you hooked because everything works out and then a new problem is presented. But instead of that, everything just works out. And he's so unbelievably nice. Everybody's like, I guess everything's just going to be okay. And I'm like, that's an adorable show. And I get its purpose. And it was great during the pandemic, but it just didn't make me want to watch it.
There was a stretch during season 2. We don't need to talk about Ted Lasso. We could,
But I loved everyone on it. I thought the show was great. I just didn't watch it more.
What was the last rom-com, if they stay together or not?
Oh, let's see.
I want one that Keith can comment on.
Oh, I liked Knocked Up.
okay.
Okay.
Do they?
I like romantic comedies to be like Seth Rogen style of humor, I think, more than, just like really, really funny and not just so formulaic. Guy comes into town and guy girl don't get along, then they get along, then they date, then someone does something stupid and then they come back to each other.
See, I could watch that plot over and over and over and over and over again.
I can watch that, but it has to be really fucking funny and reinvent something about it. Whereas like Knocked Up, I thought reinvented something about it. They were forced to be together.
And it just had a tonal difference.
Had a tonal difference,
which
and
is
I
probably
liked-
what you.
Yeah.
Do you think they would
reacted
stay
to.
together?
Yeah. Seems like they really had a real relationship by the end of that film. But I think it was a great situation of like, these people are unlikely to be together, but they must now be together. Or at
So
least
children
during this-
change that formula
Exactly.
pretty drastically.
And
You don't have
that's-
many rom-coms with kids involved.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
think I liked it.
Isn't today...
Thanksgiving?
Today is Thanksgiving.
Did you watch the parade? Did you catch your own turkey? Did you skin your potatoes? Pop them in a little bath of boiling water and mash them up with cream and butter? Have you made your cranberries into gelatin? Have you carved said turkey?
I haven't done a single one of these things
Ever?
Or maybe you're celebrating an un-Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yes. Non-Thanksgiving, more
Yeah,
focus on...
dinner
Opposite-
party.
Yeah.
Or
a
like
dinner party.
learn more about indigenous cultures and try to decolonize the meal. I think that's
Yeah.
always a cool thing to really try to focus on because it's very hard with family traditions.
Oh yeah.
I because I don't ever actually go home to my family. I don't think I do anything Thanksgiving-y other than I cook the standard menu. But I always try to put something else that's not on the standard menu in, just because turkey's not the most delicious food.
It's really
Check
not.
out some like native recipes. That's what people
Oh.
you
That's
often
a great
suggest.
idea.
Yeah.
Like look up indigenous chefs and that there's something
Cool.
really interesting and because you automatically like food is kind of like the first window for a lot of people into
Yeah.
culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it seems like something that hopefully people start looking
that's
into
a
more
really
during the
good-
That's a
holiday.
great idea.
Yeah, even if it's one dish, maybe it'll start a conversation with maybe some more traditional family members.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think of asking what you're thankful for? Is that
I think it's okay.
We can.
I think
That too trite.
I think being thankful is good.
Yeah.
I think though it should maybe not be just belonging to late November. I think people should like
Do it every day.
reflect on their thing. In fact, every time I have a dinner party and there's a lot of people together, I'm like, oh, I'm just so happy we're all together. Like, it doesn't have to be a whole speech, but you should be like, acknowledge that this is nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to do this.
What are you thankful for, Rainie?
I'm thankful for Steve Inskeep. You know Steve Inskeep?
No, I
He's
don't even
this
know where the
guy-
space in between those words are. Is it Steve Enskeep
I'm not
or
really sure what you're
Stevens?
saying.
Steve space Inskeep.
Wow, it was
Steven
that
Skeep.
one. I thought it was Steven's Keep.
Keep. I thought there was Steven,
Steven.
And I thought
he
it was
had a
like,
keep.
I don't know, a resale store like Steven's
Come
Keep.
on down to Steven's Keep.
We got sweaters, we got pants, we got buckets of ants.
No. He's an NPR host.
Oh.
And he's like the most okay boomer guy ever. But for some reason, I just really fuck with him. Like, I'm just like, you're just like funny. And I like hearing the news from you.
Thankful for him.
So I'm grateful for Steven Skeep on Up First at NPR.
You're thankful.
Oh, is that a podcaster?
Yeah, well, he's like a radio host. I think he was the one who tried to interview Trump that one time that they got Trump on, and Trump like lasted like 3 minutes, but he kept asking like questions that he didn't like, so he left.
Let's
He
all,
had a call.
we should all be thankful to another podcaster
Yeah,
who keeps us sane.
exactly.
I'll go. Mine
Yeah.
recently. I mean, it's no secret. I'm love a good crime podcast.
Oh yeah.
I also love anything just about like historical tragedies. I've been really into shipwrecks recently.
Oh.
I think I need the context, and I know why a lot of like even like my sister listens. She likes to contextualize the world as like this is true evil, so maybe I can like be a little more even keeled in my life.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about everything. And I listen to, I mean, obviously listen to like the typical like crime junkies,
Yeah.
etc. But there's one called Red Handed from the UK with Hannah and Ceruti. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing, but it's fantastic. It's kind of like somewhere between Crime Junkie and like My Favorite Murder, but they're also British, which I enjoy. Anyway,
Did you watch?
I'm thankful for them. I've been listening a lot to them.
It's so funny to me that the type, and I know it's very common, that people who listen to crime podcasts as like a soothing activity.
I know.
You love it.
It's very strange.
Great for
love
long
it.
drives.
Yeah.
Sure.
Can you
Really
explain it?
good
Why is
road
it
trip.
soothing?
I feel like, so when I hear about true evil, it makes me realize, one, some things I can be a little less mad about, and some things I can be more mad about.
Yeah.
But knowing that there's like someone who did this despicable thing
Yeah.
and that they exist, it kind of, I don't know, that's
It
a weird
regulates.
form of regulation for me emotionally.
Yeah.
I don't know if and I think especially if you're, essentially since a lot of victims have historically been women and
Yeah.
a lot of listeners of crime podcasts are women, I
Yeah.
know that at least from my friends, it's a similar thing, especially probably even deeper for them.
Yeah.
Which is like this idea of like, it's not like, ooh, salacious, lovely. Like some people maybe, but
Yeah.
some people are just like, there's something weirdly psychologically,
Right.
regulatory about it, which is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a similar reaction to it.
Yeah. Did you watch Only Murders in the Building?
Yes.
Did you love it?
I enjoyed it. I just like I like Selena and I
Haven't
like,
watched season 2.
I like the old sort of guard comedy of Steve Martin.
I
they're
couldn't
funny.
believe because I sort of like didn't totally. I was a little
couldn't
too.
leave?
No. I was like a little too young for Steve Martin, so I saw him on that show. I was like, this guy is amazing.
Oh my God.
And-
Where'd this guy come from?
Yeah, I was like, oh
This
my
guy's a riot.
gosh, he's
He should
really
have been famous
funny.
way before this.
Yeah,
Have you seen
Martin
pictures
Short I thought was good too.
and him when he was
He's
young?
hilarious.
Oh, is he hot?
He's kind of cute.
Yeah.
He was a cutie.
Ow.
Yeah.
Salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
I know who I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for Matt Pat. Not only is a person who makes great content that I actually watch a lot of, game theory and film theory, are just very well constructed episodic stuff on the internet, but he made a really great video about our whole situation, and I thought he did a great job of like helping other people understand things. Thought it was
Yes.
really good.
It was
really,
very good.
really well done video.
He also was a homie and gave us a heads up before it came out,
Yeah,
which
he
is
said,
not
"Hey."
something that
Oh,
many other
nice.
people have done.
Yeah, he's just, and I just think very highly of their content and their production model. And I think he's a great ambassador for like YouTube as an entertainment industry. Like he is always like writing about, like he is in think pieces. He writes think pieces. He
He's
like
smart.
takes it very seriously and he legitimizes our space often as often as other people delegitimize it.
Zach, what about you?
Well, hey, if you're listening to this, I'm thankful for you because.
Oh, me too.
Oh yeah, me too.
And me too.
Because I'm glad that we get to keep doing this. We're talking about podcasts I'm thankful for. My one that I love right now is called Script Apart. It's hosted by this guy, Al Horner. And what he does is he'll get screenwriters to talk about a movie and they look at the first draft.
That's really interesting.
So they look at like the first draft they wrote and then talk about what changes happened between when they wrote the first draft and the final movie that you saw. And oftentimes, if you don't know this, movies are wildly different. I mean, there will be characters, full plot lines, sets that don't make it to the final film. And so it's really fascinating to see that process. And it also just reminds you as a creative person that you have to fail, right? You have to write something, it's wrong. Now you see it and you do it again and you hone it over time, you get it. You know, each time you chip away and get a little closer. So even things that you think of as the most brilliant movies that you've ever seen, such as The Proposal.
The Spy Who Dumped Me.
The Spy Who Dumped Me doesn't always start that way. Yeah, it's a super cool pod. Yeah. Well, hot damn, I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Thanks for choosing to spend some of it with us. We love you.
Is that
we appreciate you.
We appreciate.
We appreciate.
No.
We hope that you find yourself a celebo.
God.
And thanks for
and lols.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for chilling. Thanks for being
and
here.
hopefully I'll be able to drop in every now and then, like a ghost, like a poltergeist,
like a pulch.
You know,
Pulty G.
Yeah. No, Keith, you just immediately abbreviated it.
Pulty G. Pulty G sounds pretty cool, though.
Keith, hit us with the official try the song.
Pulty G, a pulty G, a pulty G, a pulty G, flying through your house, knocking over your glasses. Pulty G, a pulty G, pushing you down and showing your asses. Pulty G, a pulty G, tripod.
Oh, and thank you to Kingsbury Crunch for sponsoring this episode.
Have a good ass week.